Okay, so we're in the little shop. It's going to kind of show. Now, I choose to shoot black powder. I just started reloading, uh, just so I can shoot more. 45 Colt is up to sometimes over $1 a round, or even more. Sometimes you can find it less, but reloading is fun. I really enjoy it, and I started with the Lee Classic Reloader. It's still what I have, but I did buy a hand primer. That way I wasn't blowing up primers in my face. But the thing with black powder is, man, it's filthy. It is filthy. I mean, any gun you shoot clean afterwards. But Projects, this is a black powder substitute. This is actual black powder, Graf and Sons. I haven't really seen too much of a difference. Some say it's gummier. I probably just don't have enough experience to really understand the difference between those two. But it is dirty. But luckily, I enjoy cleaning these guns. So this is the Cattleman, the Hombre, with the racing notches cut into the bolt and everything. And I'm kind of looking over good thing about cleaning this gun every time I shoot it is I get to look at this cylinder and see if there's any damage being done by fanning the gun. If you fan a stock gun, you will break it. Eventually it will you'll shatter the bolt, you'll rip out the grooves and notches, you'll rip out metal. And from what I can tell, I probably have been fanning not real hard. You can't hard fan this thing unless you get these notches and grooves cut deeper. The notches cut deeper, the grooves cut longer. Tuco has videos on that. Tuco the Rat, go check his stuff out. I'm sure you've seen it. If you've seen any of my content, you've probably been recommended his before this. But this isn't a true race gun. It is a lot fanner, but I'm not seeing any damage. Now I can tell the timing's off because of the groove in the cylinder. You're not going to be able to see that on here. But from notch to notch and lead to lead, there is a line. So I can tell the timing's off. But I can see, so you can see it, that white backdrop, that bolt in here. There he is. That little thing going up and down, that's the bolt. And I have the notches cut in it to protect these grooves. And I can tell my notch is coming down right in the lead. It isn't coming down before, it isn't coming down after. The only thing I can see is maybe my timing's off a little bit on the far side, but I can't tell. And I'm not, I may put some black Sharpie on it or something to shoot. But again, with this black powder, man, everything's filthy. So I don't know if it's the gun or if that's something I've done goofing off before I cut everything. Because I've had this gun for years before I ever cut these notches on it. And I think everybody has fanned a revolver before picking it up, just playing around and doing it wrong and then damaging the gun slightly, just a little bit. But these things are steel, so they can take a little bit of abuse. But if you do hard fan a revolver for any period of time and it doesn't have those notches cut in the bolt, then you are going to hurt it a little bit. And even so, I mean, this thing will probably get wrecked. This thing is a Uberti. Really, I can't stand it. I'm glad to have the gun, thankful to have it. It does shoot. I do love shooting it. But whenever I began to turn this thing into a race gun, I had it for years, and I don't think I ever tried to take out the cylinder. And, this little pin is all that holds that cylinder in there, and it would not come out. And eventually, I didn't know how to, take one of these things apart. I took a pair of channel locks and pulled on it, so I damaged this. And what turned out to happen is, I wish I had a camera that could go closer, but there was a burr on this pin, and it caused it to jam up. It eventually came out, but not after I damaged this. If I didn't do that, I would have had to find a gunsmith. That's expensive stuff. Something that should have been caught in factory. I know these guns come off an assembly line, but you would think something like the cylinder pin would be checked, because you just pull it, bring it to half cock, push the button over, and pull it out. It's not a real big deal. But it wasn't, and I'm not saying Pieta is going to be better, but I want to do cowboy fast draw, and one of the things that's legal in cowboy fast draw is authentic conversions. And I want an 1858 in a 5.5-inch barrel with in chambered to 45 Colt. Now, I think you're allowed 4.5 inch for foul straw, so I'll actually be an inch longer than most of the guns. That will make me slower, but it's not. I mean, half this is about the drip, right? It's about looking good, and I think the 1858 looks the best. I'll still have the ombre if I really truly want to compete. I can use it, but I think this 1858 looks good. I'm glad I got the cylinder. If you've seen it in the video, I should have uploaded all of it, but 3 of the caps didn't ignite the powder, and it kind of worried me a little bit, but I put new caps on it, shot it, and it shot fine. So I think it was just a matter of the nipples not being cleared properly. This gun was a rusted mess for 7 years, and I finally just brought it out and gave it new life. Stripped the finish off of it. I think it looks better than ever. I've sanded down the grips. I'm going to stain these probably some type of ebony. So now I'm just cleaning it. And black powder's filthy. You have to take care of it, or it'll end up a rusted mess like it was before. And I don't want that to happen, especially since the finish is stripped off this thing. You know, it's highly susceptible to rust now. So I keep it clean, keep a coat of oil on it. So that's kind of what I'm going over now. So I have my steel brush here somewhere. I've been putting swabs down each cylinder and each barrel. I have to get I thought I had a nipple itch, but I don't. So I can't take these nipples off to properly get in there. And until I get that, you know, this thing is just going to be, the cylinder is going to be a mess. I'll reach over here and grab the handy dandy vinyl brush. So I've just been putting a dab of oil on this vinyl brush and scrubbing like I'm brushing teeth. And it seems to be getting a lot of it out. There's a million gun cleaning, especially black powder. A lot of people throw it in a tub of soapy water. I just don't have any. I don't have running water out here in the shop, so that's not as easy as just taking this thing and oiling it up. For me, if you had a little shop in the sink and you could throw it in a tub of water or take it in the house, I just don't want to get black powder residue on everything. I don't want my wife to hate me that much. But yeah, so I'm just scrubbing this thing, taking my time, hitting that pin, the pinhole there, and generally covering this thing in oil. I want to keep this thing covered in oil just in case I have any rust. And again, the finish is already stripped, it's already damaged. I don't care too much about this thing getting a little rust on it. It's, you know, it's antiqued anyway. But I don't want it to lose operability, so I try to take my time, you know, and hit any area. Black powder is corrosive. Pyrodex is corrosive. It's naturally so. So you have to, you know, just clean your guns. Now, my smokeless guns, I shoot 5.7, 9, 5.56, all that. I don't clean those every time I shoot them. You probably should, I mean, but I don't. Especially my 5.56, my AR, and I carry a Smith & Wesson 5.7. I don't shoot those every time. I don't clean them every time I take them out and shoot them. I don't think you should have to. Those guns should function dirty or not. Take care of your stuff, obviously. Take care of what you have. Take pride in it. You know, you never know if you're going to have another one or not. But I do clean them. I just don't clean them every time I take them out. It's not necessary for function. You know, after you get a couple hundred rounds in, you can go through a couple hundred rounds every range trip. I do. You shoot a lot. You know, that stuff goes by fast. But probably better, you know, around 200 or 300 round mark, clean the gun. You're not going to see a markable drop in performance, I don't think. But, you know, they're caliber like 5.7. You know, it's small. There's high velocity. I'm sure there's some stuff that could go wrong if you just didn't use it. Same with 5.56. You know, the AR-15 platform is not the weak little 22 caliber non-hunting round that people claim it is. The 5.56 is a very formidable round, especially out of a 20-inch barrel, and that's what I have. You know, that's the barrel it was designed to do work in, and in a 20-inch barrel, 5.56 is absolutely monstrous. But it's not a weak design. They're not prone to jamming. They're not prone to gumming up. That was all. Those are all myths that have been busted a long time ago. They're extremely reliable platforms. Even more so, I would say, than American-made AK-47s, especially. American-made, not just 47s, AK-74s, the AK platform, American-made AKs are something to laugh at, really. There are some good manufacturers out there. That's not what I'm saying, but for the most part, the AR-15 platform has them beat on just about every caliber. Probably hear, well, the boys in Vietnam. Well, the boys in Vietnam were fed garbage guns with rounds too hot for them, no cleaning kits, and it was all a giant political mess, politicized. So yeah, that argument kind of goes out the window when you realize the government wanted that gun to fail, and that's why it did fail in that jungle environment. But no, your 5.56, your AR-15, keep it up, keep it clean. Buy good parts, put them in there. Your Palmetto State Armories, your Andersons, they can be good, but they're not going to have the quality control of some things, and you just have to deal with that. Are they good enough? Yeah, probably. You're probably never going to be in a situation where you have to use it. But good enough good enough should never be a factor when you're depending on your life. If you depend on life. I mean, most people are not going to get a shootout, a home invasion. You're more likely to die of a fire in your home than you are a home invasion. But people, as Clint Smith Levy says, they don't sleep with fire extinguishers by their bed. So, all right, this thing's just about good enough. I don't keep it. If I get rust on this thing, I'll strip this one too. I plan on probably giving this the same finish that the 1858 has. But I do like to. I am covered in toilet paper from shooting those blanks. If YouTube wasn't so angry about people showing ammunition manufacturing, and I could show you how to make those blanks. But all it is 20 grains of black powder in a blank case. So that's a 45 Colt case with the primer pocket drilled out to 1/8 of an inch. Primer in, and then the way I do. I made the wax bullets. They work, so I'm going to convert all my blanks into wax bullets and stop putting powder in them. But what I was doing is 20 grains of black powder with a quartered sheet of paper, toilet paper stuffed in there and packed down. They're really fun. They sound really cool. There's no recoil whatsoever, so you can fan those things to your heart's content, and you can get some pretty fast fanning done. Man, the inside of this cylinder, so it's the inner barrel of this thing is like, it's squeaky clean. But these cylinders, I can never get these cylinders as good as I can this inner barrel. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just need to take my time a little more and not as rushed. But anyway, so this is a little bit of a cleaning process. This is just not really the cleaning process. But clean the black powder firearms, or you're going to come out preferably within a few hours after. I'm sure you could probably wait a day. But just to be case, it really, I think it also depends on the humidity. We're coming into early fall, so the humidity isn't bad at all. But if you're in a more southern state in Kentucky, I mean, I'm sure you're on a time clock when it comes to cleaning these things, and you don't want that time clock to run out, or you'll end up with a gun that, is just pitted. No one wants that. So I would say that day, or at least as soon as you can the following day. I just finished shooting outside. I have church tonight, so I'm trying to get these done before church. And again, inside the cylinder, it's still filthy. I don't know. May have to get some Ballistol or COP or something like that, spray in there and let it sit. Not a big deal. I don't think it's going to rust. It's got so much oil and everything on it. That is a little better. But these things are covered in such a layer of oil, I don't think I'm going to have any rust. So I'll throw the cylinder back in. It's always on camera. There we go. I got it pretty good now. Yeah, so that's it. I'm going to take another rag, put a bunch of oil on it. I'm going to show you what I do with the 58, the new model Army. I'm sure some people get mad. I've heard it called the Remington 1858 long before I ever knew its real name. Is what they actually called it, was the Remington New Model Army. And I am one for believing that when something adopts a name, it's like 45 Colt, 45 Long Colt. I know the original term, what they called it, was 45 Colt, but the idea that now most people call it 45 Long Colt, I don't think people should get up in arms about that. Same as calling this thing the Remington 1858 over the Remington New Model Army. If you would have hop in your time machine and you go back and you ask, hey, do you want a Remington 1858? And they'll be like, huh? But if you showed them what you meant, they're going to know what you mean. If he's seen the gun, they're like, oh yeah, that thing that has the patent 1858 on the side. Yeah, I'll take one of those. It's not a big deal. But if you, that I offend thee, pluck it out. So I tried to keep it with the actual terms that they're called. So